is Chika Ekezie. I'm 33 years old. I'm from Imo State, Ikeduru local government.
Chika, you stand today to share your story
Yes,
on how you got HIV.
Yes.
Is it a story you are afraid to share? What are your fears as you share this story?
Okay, I don't exactly have any fear in sharing because if it's going to touch a life, I'm very okay with it.
At what point did you become bold sharing your story?
At the point where I understood how much harms I've caused to myself and people around me.
You've been living with HIV for how many years?
I was living with HIV for 7 years.
7 years now?
Yes.
And if you are 33, it means you started living with HIV from age
26, 27.
Do you want to share the story with us, how you got to this point?
It's a pleasure.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so first of all, I would say that I called HIV upon myself, like I wished it for myself, out of ignorance and out of the fact that I was, trying to con people and get pity from them. So it all started when I was really little. When I was very little, my mom was like a widow, and I used to always join my mom to, go to the house of church members then in my church to beg for food and for money because I used to see her try to beg for food and money so that she can feed us, the children. So because I was the last child, she was always taking me along with her. So I was seeing the way she talked to people and how she would want to kneel down, they would tell her to stand up, and we always left with something, some foodstuffs or some money. So that sticked in my head. And then one day I was alone in church and a certain woman passed and asked me how I was doing. And I wasn't really looking okay. I cannot remember why. But then she asked me if I'd eaten and stuff like that. And I remember that they always ask my mom those questions. And I remember my mom's reply. So I said, let me say what my mom used to say. And then I said, no, I've not eaten. There's nothing in the house and stuff like that. And surprisingly, the lady gave me my first 500 naira note. And I was like, oh, wow. I've seen people that have to work to get this. I only have to say something and I got this. So it happened the first time, the second time, and I was getting like 500, 1,000. Then one day I was like, how about I add something that is not true? And maybe the money will be bigger. So I said, sometimes I would just, act sick. So, and then, I started getting 2,500, sometimes 3,000. This were money that my elder brothers were not even able to bring to the house. So I started saying things that were not true. I said, using one sickness or the other to extort money from people. And it was happening mainly in the church space because, when church people hear your stories, they are like, really touched and want to help. So I was doing that for a while. And then I had to migrate. I was like, this malaria thing is not working. I'm just getting 3,500, 5,000. I want something more. So I started saying I had asthma. I've never really had asthma in my life. Like I've never had asthma in my life. But, when I started saying I have asthma, I have to play the part. So, if you want to tell a good story, you have to be able to act it. So I started acting like I had asthma attack. Like I've been to different churches and, just so I make everything crystal clear, the first church I actually did that was in Family Worship Center. And then I migrated to House on the Rock and different kind of, church, different branches of Redeemed Church. So it was a very money-making business for me. And so, if you really want to tell a good story, like I said, you have to act the part. So I was going to churches, lying that I have this, I have that. And then it just came up to one day, the idea of saying I have HIV came up. And I went to Family Worship Center, I went to the altar and gave a testimony. Because I noticed something about testimonies. Sometimes when you give a very pitiful testimony, so many people would want to approach you after the testimony. So I went to the church and I said I have HIV when I didn't have. I even said my father had his way with me when that never happened. So I was really saying too many things, just to get pity. And the first time I did that in Family Worship Center, as I came down from the altar when the church closed, I made up to 50,000 naira that day. So many people were coming and saying, "Oh, sorry, you have this, you have that. Okay, take this, take that." And I was like, "Oh, wow, this works." And then I was now like, you know what? Maybe this HIV thing is not going to really, really work. Let me say that, I was an homosexual or something, because I just wanted stories that will always make me collect money from people. So I was doing that severally, and it was going so well until they had to run a test for me at Family Worship Center. They had to run a test, and they found out that I wasn't HIV positive then. And so the business died off in that church. So I had to look for another church. And then I
They
went
told
to
you to
House
stop
on the
coming?
Rock. They didn't tell me to stop coming, but I knew that
They
it
caught you.
wasn't going to work anymore because they caught me. And, I now had to leave there, and I went to House on the Rock. House on the Rock was where I met a whole lot of people. Like, I met a whole lot of people that really cared, like young youths who were doing so well for themselves, and they really took interest in me. So I started lying again. I told them I had HIV and stuff. And one thing with lies, or one thing with attitude like that, is that you are never contented. Nothing is ever enough. So I was still doing it, doing it, doing it. I didn't get tired, because if money was coming in, then there was no problem. So I had good people that was interested, but I burnt relationships, because when they found out that I was also telling lies, I lost people in my life that if I still stick to them today, I probably would not be in Nigeria. But I burnt relationships again. They got to know that I was lying, because I was just so free telling the stories. I was just so ready to lie, and sometimes a lot of things were not adding up. And so I was caught there in House on the Rock.
Again.
And yes, and in
They ran
House,
another test for you.
no, they didn't run tests for me. So what happened with House on the Rock was that I was telling too many lies, but I wasn't thinking about how to connect the lies together. So many things were not adding up. I said several times that my mother died before she actually died. So it felt like I did not understand the power of the tongue until when I sat down to realize that everything I lied about came to pass. So if I had used my tongue positively, so maybe I would have had a better life. Because I said, there was a time I told a lady that my mother died twice. I even forgot. I told her that my mother died like last year. I met her the other year, and I said, my mother died last week. And she was like, how many times is your mother dying? So it was like really a problem. So all of those things that I said came to pass. So I think that that's why I see myself as someone who called, negativity, called HIV to himself, because of my words.
But nobody gets HIV through words. Was there a lifestyle that led to that?
Yes. Most times when I go to church and beg on a Sunday and I get money, before I get home, I'll go to a brothel on a Sunday. I'll go to a brothel. I'll first, sleep with different ladies.
In Abuja?
Yes, in Abuja. That was when I was in Abuja. So I would sleep with different ladies, some older, mostly were older than me. I slept with someone as old as my mom before. So it was like an addiction. It became an addiction. Because at that time where I said I was HIV positive in House of the Rock, there was this NGO. There's this girl that was working with an NGO, and she invited me to come and tell my stories in the NGO. Because then anything that would just bring money, I was in. So when she invited me to come and tell my stories in the NGO, I was not exposed to female genital toys like I saw it, and I liked how it was. So I took like 2 without them knowing. And when I got home, because they even got me an apartment, I lied to them that I didn't have a house and that I was staying in the bush. Like, I was just telling any lie that can just make people pity me. So I had like access to those genital toys, and I was now using it. That was how I got so addicted to masturbation. I started watching porn.
Female genital toys,
Yeah,
are for females.
yes, but I
if
took
you have
it.
to use it, you have to play like an homosexual.
No, I was actually, taking it, and then the imagination is very filthy.
Okay.
So I was taking it and then putting it on my, own private part, and
Yeah.
having the feeling that I was actually having intimacy. So that was one thing that sparked the desire to always, want to have intimacy with other ladies. So yeah, I was first addicted to masturbation, and I started, brotels, going to brotels and sleeping with ladies. If I could put a number with ladies I've slept with, I think they are up to 8,000, because it was too
Just
much.
in Abuja alone.
So the attitude started in Abuja, but then I went to Lagos. Lagos, I was introduced to a place called Obalende, and that place was now my home, because in Obalende you get different kind of girls from the age of 11 to the age of 70 something. You see different kind of women, different ages.
Are you saying a 70-something-year-old lady is on the street?
Yes.
For prostitution?
Yes.
And you're saying you get from as young as age 11?
Yes. Yes. There in Obalende. So it was like my second home. Every time I want to have, like, intimacy with anybody, I just go to Obalende. And there were like a whole lot of people to make choices from. And then it was 1,000 naira, 300 naira to rent a room, 700 naira to pay the lady.
Come again.
So it's like 300 naira to rent a room. It's like a box. The rooms are like very small. The only thing you have is that student's bed. So you pay 300 naira, you get the room for like 10 minutes. Yes. And then you pay 700 naira. That was then, like 7 years ago. That was then. So you pay 700 naira to the lady. So yes, so all I used to do is whenever I make money, I always bring 1,000 naira out every single day to satisfy myself.
During those periods, were you on any drugs to help you, like a sexual enhancing drug?
I've never used any sexual enhancing drugs before. I only just had its desire. Desire was like the drug that I needed.
It was all enough.
Yes.
And all this variety of prostitutes, you were having unprotected sex?
Well, I started with protected sex anyway, but it was not giving me the kind of pleasure that I needed. So I used to pay more. So if their money is 700, I'll try to add like 200 to be able to, have unprotected sex.
Just 200 naira addition then was enough for a woman or a lady to say, now you can have unprotected sex.
Yes, or you buy them malt.
Or you buy them
Maltina.
And that's it.
That's it.
This went on for how many years?
For a very, very long time. Went on till this year, actually.
Till this year?
Yes.
Till last year?
Yes, last year.
This is 2025.
Yeah, we went on till 2024.
When did you discover you had HIV?
It was 7 years ago. I was working with a photographic company, and I was transferred to Kano. So in Kano, I used to think that Kano was like a boring state, nothing is happening there. But when I went there, it's one of like the wildest states ever. So I was very, very, explorative with the ladies there. And I stayed there for 7 months. When I left Kano, I came back to Lagos. I went back to Lagos, and in Lagos was when I started falling sick, and I was going to, the hospital. I was going in and out of the hospital. And at some points I had a very serious breakdown that took me to the hospital and was admitted. So after the admission, I came back, and the company I was working for then, they told me that I have to run a test because they were just so uncomfortable. I was looking pale. I was always having fever. I was really looking very sick. And when I went for the blood test, because they paid for it, I had to, show them the result. I showed them the result by 10 a.m. in the morning, and they told me to leave their premises by 4 p.m. that same day. So I had to.
The moment the company discovered you had HIV?
Yes.
They asked you to leave their premises?
Yeah, that they wanted to renovate the
But for
Yeah.
7 years after you discovered that you had HIV,
Yeah.
you were still sleeping with girls.
Yes.
Unprotected sex.
Um, for the most part, yes. But at some points, I got tired with having sex because I discovered that a lot of the girls who are on the streets having sex do not really know how to like give pleasure. So what I used to do is I became a pimp at some point, and I started getting girls for men. So when I see girls who are ready to sell themselves for money, I connect them with men who are willing to pay money for, sex or pleasure. So that's how I was actually like operating, and it made me had access to the girls because I would want to see how they can satisfy my clients. And so most times I tell them that, okay, you have to start with giving massage and all of that. And they have to start giving massage. So most of the times I would tell them that I have to teach them how to give the massage, right? And when I massage them, you always get to the part where we want to have, you know, sex. So, but because I was not having genital warts on my private part, I didn't want them to be seeing it. So what I do is I'll tell them to sit somewhere, touch themselves while I touch myself. And if it happens that, we want to have sex, I don't like them seeing me. So I'll just tell them to off the light and then I go to them.
The genital wart is as a result of the virus.
Now, HIV is like a virus that
Yes.
suppresses your immune system. So my body was now open for different kind of infection easily because
that's another viral infection on this one.
Yes. So because my immune system was suppressed, it was not easy for me to contact different kind of sexual infections. Yes.
So you pimped girls for men.
Yes.
Are there people that you pimped that who later discovered that they themselves too had HIV now?
The thing about that is people hardly come out to say it. Some people don't mind, to die with such information. They never want to come and say it. So, yeah, I really do not know. But for the most part, people I have tried to, approach, because most of the girls in my life were actually hookup girls. So people have tried to approach. They tell me that they don't have it. So maybe they don't want to even tell me because they think I might talk about it, or maybe they really don't have it. But no one has actually told me that, Chika, you gave me HIV or something, because at the end of the day, they were not just open to just me. I'm the only person who just came out to say I have it. Doesn't mean that I'm the only person that they had sex with that actually have it.
Are you saying that there are many people right now on the street, in brothels, in clubs, who have HIV and are not aware?
Yes.
Or some who are aware but are just spreading it?
Yes. So those are like two categories of people, and you're very correct, sir, because I used to say that the people who have HIV, people who are living with HIV right now that are aware of it, and not as much as the people living with HIV right now and that are not aware of it. So HIV can, like, as I said, is a virus. It can be in your body for years, dormant, without even showing. So because some people are symptomatic and asymptomatic. Symptomatic means your body system will bring out the symptoms. And asymptomatic means that there will be no symptoms. So it can be in you for years, like up to 10 years without knowing. And when it comes out, it just strikes you and takes you to AIDS. Like it just takes you to AIDS. So that's why it's advisable to just always do the checkup. Don't wait till when something is wrong with you, because sometimes you might never see anything wrong with you.
Chika, when you reflect back at the life you have lived in the past, how do you feel?
I used to feel very, very, very dirty. I used to feel very, very bad. Like before I got to this part, I was going to take my life one more time. But I went to get sniper to, drink. But when I got the sniper, I didn't like the smell. So it was not hard for me to take it. And, death was very, very hard. and something funny actually happened. So I posted again that this time I'm going to really die. And then I tagged Gossip Mill. And when I tagged Gossip Mill, they asked me to pay 50K to publicize a suicide note. And I started laughing. So me that want to die now will publicize.
When you tagged
Yeah.
Gossip Mill,
Yeah.
that you wanted to kill yourself,
Yes.
Gossip Mill said you should pay 50,000 naira
Yes.
for them to publicize your
Yes.
suicide note.
I have the screenshot
Do you still have the screenshot?
right now. Yes.
Where is it?
My phone.
Bring it.
Yes.
This says, greetings from Gossip Mill, Niger. You always tag me. How may I help you? Say, well, I love your energy. I can make your video go viral. Earn more followers on Instagram. Welcome. By posting two of your content for 50K if interested. Then you ask, I should use 50K to publicize that I want to end my life. That's between you and them.
Yeah.
Gossip Mill.
So when I saw this, I started laughing, and I used the last money I had
to die safe now, they're expensive.
Yes. So exactly what I said. So it was on a Friday, and I smoked myself out till on Saturday. Saturday I woke up, I was really, really crying. So I saw a video of Apostle Femi Lazarus, Gilead episode 2. When I saw it, it was as if it was talking to me. I've always been seeing him, but that particular video was as if he was talking to me directly. And then I started crying. I smoked again, and then I was like, you know what, let me just try. I didn't sleep that Saturday night. So between that Saturday and Sunday, I had to go to Instagram, and then I saw that he was the apostle for Light Nation Church. And I went to Light Nation Church. That was when I first saw the address. I never knew it was in Abuja. So that day I was like, I was going to go to church. And when I was coming to church, I had loud in my pocket, one on road loud in my pocket. And the plan was that after church, I would smoke it. So I had the loud and 3 lighters in my pocket. So I was going to church, and I saw like a waste bin, and something in my head just say, start releasing yourself from now if you really want to be saved. When I heard that, I don't know, I just decided to bring out the loud and the lighters, and I put it in the bin. And I told myself, Chika, it's time to let all these things go. And I went to sit down during the stewardship program. And then I heard, because I was telling stories and trying to lie for people to pity me, I was trying to leave the part. So if I said I was sick, I'll try to look sick. If I said I didn't have a place to stay, I have to look dirty, like someone who didn't have a place to stay. So I was doing that, and it became an attitude. Since I started coming to church, it was the first time last year, the whole of 2014, since I started coming to church was the time I started taking my bath regularly. I used to stay for like 2 months without bathing. I used to stay, and I would never look it, but I was too dirty. You couldn't even come into my house and stay for 2 minutes. I was always dirty. So I was never bringing anyone to my house. I was always the hotel. So I was never clean. So when I came in, I saw the resident pastor. He was teaching about cleanliness and, how to be clean, how to dress, how to wear a suit that doesn't have shoulder pad. I could remember. So everybody was laughing, and then I just told myself, okay, I've not even sat down. I'm hearing the right thing, because I really want to do better. And that day when I came to church, I didn't even take my bath. So I started feeling very uncomfortable, because I was like, everybody here is clean apart from me. So I saw some guys sitting down, and I saw how clean they were. And, I wanted to just get to talk to them, get their number, let me see their status. I just want to be seeing their status and how they dress, so I could be in my corner just imitating them. That was the idea. And then only one person walked up to me, and that was one of the photographers in church, and just came to say hi. And after that, the church started, and then we started preaching. I was so restless. I was very restless. Sometimes I want to stand up and go, but sometimes I'll sit down. It was as if you were talking to me. If someone had invited me to church that day, I would think the person had already told you everything about me. So after church and during the service, Apostle was always saying audacity. You have to be audacious. You have to be audacious. And in my head, that was just what sticked. I was like, you have to be audacious. And before I left church, I created a TikTok account. That TikTok account is the TikTok account I'm using now. And I told myself that I was going to talk about it. And then that was the first time I posted a video about, how I got my HIV and all of that.
Where are you now on this journey?
Okay, where I am now is, this is the first time I'm having peace. I know that there are consequences for things I have done, but I have peace in my heart. And I always talk about it in my status, my WhatsApp status. I don't hide any information about myself. I want to be open, because then I had something that it takes HIV 5 to 8 years to graduate to become AIDS if it's not properly taken care of. You're not on your medications. And I have not been on my medication for the 7 years that I've been HIV positive. So a part of me felt like my time on earth has been numbered naturally. So I just wanted to pour out everything as much as I can before I leave. So yeah, it wasn't really because I was confident. It was really because I was just ready to die empty, just in case anything happens.
So you feel you are going to die?
I felt like I was going to die. I don't feel that way anymore.
Are you back on your medications?
Yes, constantly now.
When did you get back?
I got back the day that I had a breakdown, and then the church supported me when I was leaving. I just had to open up to the doctor that I was actually HIV positive, and he gave me. So that day when I left the hospital on the 25th of November was when I started my ARVs.
Are you working at the moment?
No, I'm not working.
Why?
First of all, apart from having HIV, I also had attitudes, uncool attitudes. I was telling too many lies. I was defrauding. I was, I was just so uncool. I was not that trustworthy. So there are a lot of people who wanted to separate their brands from my brand. And the funny thing was that I was actually really good in photography. And that's what made it very easy for people to cancel me, because they could find me easily. My pictures were really good. But, the character behind the pictures, the character behind the creativity was entirely bad. So.
You said there was a time you were lying about sicknesses you didn't have.
Yes.
From asthma.
Yes.
To even lying about this same HIV.
Yes.
How can you convince those online watching you right now that this is not another stunt?
Okay. I'm not interested in convincing. I'm really not interested in convincing. I just want to release. And, anyone who gets inspired, that's enough for me.
Where do you go from here?
So right now, I just want to, I'm just big on releasing myself, telling as much people as I can that, there shouldn't be another chica out there. And, I'm ready to help people spot a chica if they see them, so that you don't put yourself at risk. And being sexual intercourse is not the only way you can get HIV. You can get HIV from different other ways, like, using unsterilized sharp objects, blood to blood contact, unscreened blood transfusion and stuff. But the truth is the highest way you can get is by having too many sexual partners. So you have to just be careful. You have to abstain completely. If you cannot abstain, then just have one sexual partner. But then abstinence is actually the best option.
Chika, what will you say to anyone watching you right now who is living with HIV and is still spreading to different people?
Okay, what I'll say is when you spread HIV or when you intentionally or carelessly sleep with people without protection, you're not just doing them harm, you're doing yourself, because you actually don't even know if the person you're trying to spread HIV to already has HIV. So you can actually get reinfected. And the HIV in one person, the strides of HIV in one person is different from the strides of HIV in another person. So that's why my symptoms can be different from another person's symptoms. So I can be having fever, diarrhea, and acute headache. Another person can be having rashes, swollen knobs, and fever. So when you expose yourself to another person that have it, you're going to have what they call co-infection. And that is even worse than just having your own kind of HIV. So it's good to stay safe regardless and be careful and don't put other people at risk.
Are you afraid of stigmatization?
I used to be, not anymore. I don't even see stigmatization, even if it's in front of me.
Chika, if different organizations reach out to you to come speak about your journey and how you got to this point, will you be open to that?
Yes, very open.
Your ARVs, how are you funding them since you are not working at this moment?
So ARVs are actually very free in all health centers. You don't have to pay for it. So by the time you are tested positive, you are supposed to be administered your ARVs immediately. So yes, it's very free.
And how are you maintaining yourself in this season?
So I really can't even explain how it happens. So most times when I come to church, I walk a long time to come, but I never want to miss a service. And I don't know how it happens. I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm never hungry. I don't know how to just explain it. But I just know I never sleep without food.
Lastly, are there symptoms you're experiencing this season?
Yes, like 2 weeks ago, I had pile. So it was very troubling. So because most times when I even go to church, I'll be unable to sit down. And that's why it feels like I walk around a lot, but it was just really pile. It was eating me up. It's actually gone now, but yeah, it was very painful. And since December, throughout December, I never really felt sick since I started my ARVs. But before then, I used to fall sick every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, constantly, I fall sick.
Thank you, Chika.
Thank you.
Thank you.